find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
The bones in Rome fall mainly in the catacomb.
Oh, that's a good tongue twister.
Thank you.
The bones in Rome lie mainly in the catacomb. I feel my mouth opening and loosening.
Mandibles are for manly people.
Yeah. Keep them coming.
Femurs are for fools and flirts.
And we are 100 episodes deep. That's not really a tongue twister, but that's something I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's a little less than half a human skeleton of bones.
Deep. That's a vocal exercise.
Deep.
Deep. We're 100 episodes deep.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie, stacked like books Schwartz.
And I'm Katelyn, 100 tiny phalanges reaching out towards you. Heart.
And this is the show where we talk about bones and bone-related topics, and this is the 100th time we're doing it.
Yeah, this is our centennial episode.
We're 100.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Happy 100th birthday, Soph, from me to you.
Aw, happy 100th birthday from me to you.
It's really cool. It's also, I really like that it happens to be the first episode of 2023 as well. It's like we're starting with a fucking bang.
Yeah, it feels like we're coming into a new season of Bones. And, you know, I don't know, I was just thinking, do you have any new Bones resolutions? Anything that you're hoping for the podcast in the next hundo?
Oh, man. Well, I do want to get that video component going. I think that'd be really cool. If people want the video component, maybe let us know on the gram. Send us a DM.
Yeah, would you watch that?
We're curious. Would you watch it? So possibly that. I would love to do a live show or a virtual show with you in 2023. That's what I think. More stuff in 2023.
Yeah, more stuff. I'd like to have more of our funny friends on. I would like to have more bone experts, people who are out in different bone-related fields, come and talk to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my new bone solutions.
It's decreed in bone right now.
Yes, I have gotten the chisel and I am working on our chiseling it into the bone church I've been creating out of the bones that the skeleton that lives outside my window brings me.
Well, I wasn't sure what you were going to do with that second bedroom. Now I know. It's a bone church.
It's a bone church. It's a Jewish bone church.
Yes, it's a Jewish bone synagogue.
Yeah. And in the very corner, there's some audio foam where I record the podcast. But other than that,
don't look over there.
Don't
look at the
over
intricate
there.
Carved bones with my words.
Yes.
Heed my words.
Heed my words.
I don't know.
I've chosen to relay the story of Twilight in bones, as you can see.
And somehow it's not a copyright infringement if it's on bone.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think the transformative property of fair use is in play here.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get into this 100th episode Bone-anza?
Bone-anza.
Thank you. Bone-anza. Thank you.
Bone-anza.
Count it. Bone-anza. Thank you. We're having a bonanza.
Bonanza.
Thank you. Count it.
Bonanza.
Bonanza. You know, it's not like any other day. It's a bonanza day.
Oh, it's a Bone-anza. You didn't think we were going to do a big 100th episode and just do 2 topics.
Disgusting.
Vile.
We're here with a Bone-anza, and the theme is simply things we're excited about.
I know it's vague, but this is the 100th episode, and this is a celebration of our weird interest in bones. And
definitely.
I think I've picked a couple of things that I feel are exemplary of some of the themes of our podcast.
Love that. I've really stuck to things that I've been vaguely interested in or like stumbled upon when doing other research and been like, okay, come back to that. And so I'm excited to share what I found.
Yeah, I feel like some of mine are things where I'm like, oh, this has been in the Google Doc that I have of topics for a long time, and I just need to talk about it.
I need it. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to start things off on our 100th episode and our, 14th Bone-anza, 15th Bone-anza? I didn't check.
I don't even know.
We'll check that later. So for my first topic, I went to old Atlas Obscura. Just a classic. Ooh. One that it's tried and true. You can always count on Atlas Obscura.
It's my one-stop shop for getting my brainstorming going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I often start there as well. That's interesting. I didn't know that about you. Well, I hope we didn't do a double Bone-anza surprise, because we actually barely checked in about what we were going to talk about. But here's hoping.
Barely. Well, I think our like modes of looking for stuff have become like, it's interesting we both start with Atlas Obscura, but we're both, I feel like, interested in distinctly different things. So
yeah, certainly.
Hopefully that will serve us.
Let me see. Wouldn't you know it? I didn't really talk about any true crime today.
What?
Yeah, this is it's not really a true crime episode for me somehow.
Do I have any crime?
It's okay. I mean, there's crime. It's just like not
there's
my usual.
Crime.
I mean, there's weird stuff, but okay, let's just get into it. Atlas Obscura was my source, and I'm going to be telling you about Utah's K Cross.
Oh, I have no idea what this is.
Fabulous. I'm going to start off hot with a pick.
Oh!
Why not?
You spoil me.
Sending. Wow.
Whoa. That is a big, blocky cross.
It's a thick cross.
Yeah, that cross has 2 C's for thick.
Yeah. So it's 20 feet tall.
Whoa, okay. It does not look that tall in the picture, but I think we need a person standing next to it to get the scale,
to really get, yeah. So just take my word for it. Take Atlas Obscura's word for it. It's 20 feet tall. It is made of stone. It is in a hollow on the northern outskirts of Kaysville, Utah. There's also a big letter K that's in the center of the cross, mysteriously.
Oh, I see that now.
Yeah, so it's Kaysville. There's a K on the cross, so colloquially it's known as K's Cross. It's on private property.
Nice.
And it's pretty underdeveloped. You kind of have to know where you're looking. So locals kind of know where it's at, but you might have some trouble finding it if you don't know it's there. But there are a lot of crazy urban legends around K's mysterious cross in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Utah.
K's kick-ass cross.
So some of the legends around the cross are that it was built by a polygamist, we are in Utah, who murdered his wives, somewhere between 7 and 9 of them, and buried them around the base of the cross before hanging himself from a tree.
Whoa, that escalated so quickly.
That's a scary legend, right?
That's terrifying, yeah.
It's not real, but it's scary as fuck.
I mean, has anyone done any excavating around this thing?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Another like kind of version of the legend says that one of, it was kind of the same thing. A guy killed his wives and put one or more of their hearts in the cross. Something like that.
Oh my
Creepy vibes.
goodness.
Murdery, creepy vibes that I said I wasn't going to talk about somehow.
Yeah, I was going to
but
say.
it always comes up.
I didn't think we would get any murdered wives in this story.
Well, it's in the first 10 minutes of the podcast.
Oh.
So there you go. So this is legend. There are also like reports, reports. I want to put reports in like quotation marks because it's just speculation.
Reports in italics.
Yeah. Reports of, quote, seeing the bones of small animals scattered at the base, and stories of ghosts, witches, werewolves, and ritual sacrifices swirled into the rumors depending on who was telling the tale. So it's one of those things where it went up like sometime in the mid 1900s. We'll get into that in a sec. But then like, because it's the pre-internet age, so you only found out about it if you were in Utah. Otherwise, that wasn't something people were talking about. And then the mysterious, like, creepy, hidden aspect of it, and then these, like, random quote-unquote reports of animal bones and witches and all this shit. Like, so it's a mindfuck.
Although I must say, if I was a Utah witch, I think that cross would be an excellent
attracted
place
to it.
Oh,
Yeah, I get
hell
that.
yeah! Especially
that.
with the like kind of occultist stories. I mean, if you're putting a heart inside of there, that's like witch bait. That's like little catnip for witches.
And, a lot of people did feel that same way, and they were drawn to Kay's Cross. These are mostly people that were, like, wanting to go drink and get high out there and, like, paint a pentagram on it or some
Ooh,
shit.
so edgy!
Yeah. But it was, like, actually kind of dangerous to go there because it was private property, and the locals would agree on the fact that, like, if you got caught there, the owners of the property would probably, like, shoot or try to shoot at you. Atlas Obscura says they would shoot a shotgun full of rock salt, which is so nice of them to not shoot bullets.
Ow.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, no. This reminds me a lot of, there was a kind of hilly, like, area where I grew up where there was this kind of like couch that was like on the side of a hill that had a good view of like Oakland, and people would go there. People would go there to, smoke and drink and stuff. And one day there was a large pentagram painted on the couch, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's cursed now." But
it couldn't possibly be some shithead thinking he was awesome and painting a pentagram on some random thing.
No, but I definitely twisted my ankle trying to get out there a couple of times.
Oh my god. So, also part of the legend, if you visited during a full moon, the cross would glow in the dark and burn if you put your little hands on it.
If you put your grubby little hands on it.
If you put your nasty hands close to it, you would be burned.
Well, rightfully so. Don't touch that cross. It's definitely a curse.
Yeah, something's wrong with it. A local woman was interviewed for this Atlas Obscura article. Her name's Linda Arnell. She said about the cross, quote, "I was shocked the first time I saw it because it was so large. The horizontal part of it was the size of a casket. We thought for sure there were bodies in the cross."
She brings up a good point.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. So you get this sense that going to the cross was this kind of like teenage, angsty, like rebellious rite of passage. Going out to the cross, like, you touch it, no, you touch it. Like,
oh my god,
like
it
that,
feels warm.
Yeah, I'm being burned by the cross.
I can hear the bodies in there.
Anyway, so this goes on for decades, right? But then, February 15th, my goddamn birthday, 1992, a commotion wakes the sleeping town.
Oh.
Actually, I don't know if they were asleep or not. I don't know what time
For
it
the
happened.
purposes of this story, it awoke the sleeping town.
Thank you. They awoke to hear a crash like no other. Kaysville police made their way out to the hollow, and Kay's cross had been destroyed. Let me send you a picture. Somebody had put a bunch of dynamite at the base of the cross and lit it up.
Oh, shit. Wow. They toppled that thing. I feel like you almost get a better view of the scale now that it's like on the ground. It looks that is chunky, this cross.
It's a chunky one. Yeah, still thick even in death.
Yeah, that makes me sad for the future generations of teens who, I mean, I guess they can sit on it now, but like it's definitely
you'll see.
Oh,
You'll
God.
see.
Did one little shithead ruin it for everyone?
Well, no, but we're going to get into who owns the land in a second, and it's not great. But anyway, so these weird property owners that we're about to get into, it's speculated that they were the ones that actually blew it up because they were sick of the like publicity. There's also speculation that like it was so evil that it had to be destroyed and somebody destroyed it, or like, you know, whatever. But
well, I think our lawyer fathers would say that it is also a liability. Like, if, like, minors are going to be going out there smoking and drinking and, like, doing graffiti on each other.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. It's bad.
Lawsuits could be involved, is a boring answer.
Yeah. So, Brett Hugh, who is a Kaysville local, he kind of is interviewed for maybe like the second half of the Atlas Obscura interview because as a local, he kind of took on the lore of Kay's Cross as a hobby, and he published a blog about what he found. He found a lot of stuff that was a matter of public record, but had been kind of forgotten because of all the legends and weird shit that had been talked about in the time since the actual shit went down, if that makes sense. I lost my train of thought a little bit there. But anyway, so this guy, Brent Hugh, he's awesome, I think, as far as his work on Kay's Cross. He finds out that the land that Kay's Cross was on was and is owned by the Kingston clan, which is originally broken off as a group of Mormon fundamentalists who broke off from the mainstream Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the 1920s. The patriarch, Charles Eldon Kingston, founded, quote, the order. It's also known as the Co-op. To me, it sounds like a cult.
I was wondering if we were going there.
That's what it seems like, but I won't. That's alleged. That's just what I am seeing from the outside. I don't know that that's fact.
Mm-hmm.
But the co-op practiced polygamy, and they lived under a united order, which is a type of communism where they share goods and services. They are pretty withdrawn from society. Like, this is a still existing group, but they are like pretty self-reliant. So they have acquired like multiple farms, a cattle ranch, and a coal mine. That's how they kind of make their money to survive. I guess they were recently the subject of a lawsuit in September 2022. It says that, quote, it was filed by former Klan members against the Kingstons for sexual battery, child abuse, and sex trafficking minors born into the organization.
See, I'm seeing where you get your cultish vibes from.
Yeah. So the Kingstons seem problematic to me. Anyway, so flash forward, or I don't know where we are. In 2019, this guy, Brent Hugh, gets an email from somebody claiming that her father helped build Kay's Cross in the 40s. And her father's name is Malvern Hansen. And Hansen had written about Kay's Cross in a journal. at the time that was happening. And so
we love a primary source.
we love a journal. And this guy was still alive. So
Fuck yeah.
I assume he gave permission. His daughter gave the journal to this local historian guy, Brett Hugh. And the journal recorded in summer 1946, Hansen and other members of the co-op met with this guy named Francis Penkovic, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I think so, who basically believed that he was Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So, quote unquote, Jesus Christ is preaching at a gospel while stationed in the army in 1945, and he runs into John Ortel Kingston. So Kingston is part of the Kingston clan. He meets this guy Penkovic, aka Jesus Christ.
Nice.
And is like, hey, you're so cool. Do you want to come preach at my, what would you call it, a commune?
Compound.
My house. And you'd think this would be such a great idea. But pretty quickly, he's there. Jesus Christ is there. And the people that he's preaching to are not really convinced that he is actually Jesus Christ. But even though they're like kind of skeptical about him, he has this great idea to build a stone cross on the property as a tribute to Jesus's crucifixion. And for some reason, even though they maybe don't think he's legit, they're like, sure, let's do it.
Those are very understanding and flexible people with time on their hands, because I'm not building a cross for anyone other than
a 20-foot cross for Jesus, but he's not really Jesus.
And they don't think he's Jesus. That's the part that's the wildest part to me, is that they're like humoring him. Like, what, to be nice? Like,
it's unclear.
I mean,
It's
that's
unclear.
really nice of them, but like a little too nice, you guys.
And so this guy, they wrote the K on K's cross is for knowledge.
Oh, that, this all is coming together perfectly for me.
Yeah. And there were more plans to like get some other stuff on the cross, but Penkovic, aka Jesus Christ, moved to California later the same year while the cross was under construction, so he never got to see
What the
his
fuck?
precious. Yeah, it's so weird. He never got to see the finished product, and it's a giant 20-foot stone cross. So they're like, let's just leave this here.
Well, I guess eventually they'll blow it up, but it's like, you finish this cross and it's like, well, where's the guy? Well, he's moved to California. Well, what do we do with this then?
It's all so weird and culty.
It is, I mean, I don't mean
But-
to toss around aspersions, but very
Yeah,
culty.
but it is. So this journal, this guy Hansen, his journal, which has this whole story in it, is corroborated by an article that was put out. It looks like the Desert News reported in 1990 or after 1992, so after the cross was blown up. This newspaper reported that a man named Merlin Kingston reached out to the Kaysville Layton Historical Society because he had information on the cross and he wanted to set the record straight. And I guess the Historical Society also was noted in the interview as saying that, quote, he gave us the information with the understanding we wouldn't talk about it.
Yes, the Historical Society doesn't want to talk about history.
No, I guess this guy told him what was going on, but he was like, it has to stay within the group or something. I don't know. It's really weird.
That
it's
is
really weird.
That is weird.
So there's this article in the newspaper that kind of alludes to this guy, what was his name? Jesus Christ, Penkovic, being involved in the building of the cross. So around the time that there's so many people in this story, when the daughter of the guy with the journal reaches out to the local historian, she also contacts somebody at the Kaysville Fruit Museum Heights. Oh my God, I can't talk. She contacts somebody named Christina Murdoch at the Kaysville Fruit Heights Museum of History and Art, which I guess, has some other information that can corroborate the story, because at this time, the guy with the journal, he's 96, and he talks to the lady at the Museum of History and Art about his journal entry, what he saw, and he has blueprints of the original cross to back it up. So it's like, yeah, that kind of seems legit. And this 96-year-old guy, Hansen, when he was asked why this was so like weird and secretive, he said, quote, "It was not kept secret. We just didn't talk about it as we had other things to do."
Well, you know, I guess some things that are significant don't seem significant at the time. But, like, it is a giant stone cross, guy. Come on.
And it sounds like because of the way that this stone cross came about, it might have been a little bit of an embarrassment for the Kingston clan, the Kingston cult, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have been slightly embarrassing. So it might have taken them a long time to share their story because they didn't want to be like publicly denouncing the clan or the Kingstons. And then mysteriously, Penkovic, aka Jesus Christ, was murdered in a suicide bombing about 10 years after this stuff with the cross. Two of his followers in his new cult that he started, they thought that he was embezzling from the organization and committed adultery with their wives. Surprise, surprise. Unfortunately, several others died in the explosion that killed him. And some people think that that's part of why there's part of the legend where people are buried around the cross, because of this connection to the founder of the cross's death in a bombing.
I mean,
it's a loose connection, but maybe. But because of the dynamite, I think would have revealed if there were bodies there.
I would hope so. But it also looked like it blew up more of the cross than the ground, so...
It did, and the remains are still visible to this day. So
the cross remains.
Yeah. The remains of the cross, specifically. So the Kingstons decided after it was destroyed, about 10 years after it was destroyed, they decided that it was a good idea to make it a haunted tour.
Oh.
They actually put up a replica of the cross closer to the main road, so people weren't like trotting around through the woods doing all kinds of weird shit. And I went on the website for this tour company, I don't know what you would call it. It is very aggressive with its use of the legends. It like is not about the Mormon stuff.
Not about the real murder?
No, it's just like all leaning into like, you wouldn't believe the things that paranormal experts have seen at the, you know, it's just like, it's very vague but scary. And it seems like it's just kind of a money-making scheme at this point. The Kingston folks did not return requests for interviews in this Atlas Obscura article, which, I don't know, take or leave that.
I mean, you'd think if they were in the tourism industry, they would want publicity like Atlas Obscura.
Yeah, but Atlas Obscura is saying, like, here's what actually happened.
For sure.
They're the ones saying it's about weird Mormon stuff and a guy who thought he was Jesus Christ that convinced them to make a cross. Like, it's embarrassing, kind of.
Yeah, I guess conflicts with their whole, you know, spooky, supernatural.
Yeah. I am going to end with a quote from that guy, Brett Hugh, who kind of did the research on Kay's Cross and looked in the public records and everything. And, quote, 40 years ago, they, the Kingstons, never would have done anything like that, you know, turning it into a tourist attraction. Mm-hmm. Quote, they just didn't want to mix with society, but now they've turned what used to be a thorn in their side into a source of income.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a silver lining situation for them.
I guess. And that's the weird ass story of Kay's Cross, which isn't quite as haunted as they want you to believe.
Wow, that really went places.
Yeah, I like that one. It struck me, but I was like, I don't know. It's not enough for a full topic, but I did go kind of long on that, so maybe it was.
It's fascinating. I was very interested in the cult aspect. Definitely more bone-filled than I thought it was going to be when you were like, and these are the legend. I was like, oh, it's just going to be a random-ass statue in the wood that some arty-farty old Mormon made. Nope.
It's a little more complicated than that.
A little more complicated than that. Wow. Well, from one unique monument to another, are you ready for another bone topic?
Yeah, Bone-anza 100. Hit me.
So my sources for my topic are Atlas Obscura, KFOR.com news, and travellook.com.
Ooh.
Okay, so in the southwest of an Oklahoma town called Granite, there is the Comicos Cemetery.
Okay.
And this is a roadside attraction that features gravestones that feature sayings such as, "I told you I was sick."
Wait, it's a cemetery, but it's also a roadside attraction.
Well, here's the catch. No one's buried here.
Oh my, what? Prank.
This is a joke cemetery.
What?
Okay, so this is, like I said, it's a roadside attraction, and it features a whole clump of headstones that have jokes or puns about death and dying. And it has a large sign with Will Rogers on it that says, "Giants of the Great Plains." I'll send you a picture of it right now.
Yeah, sure.
So from the outside, it looks like a cemetery that has a billboard next to it. It's really weird.
Yeah, what? And it's like weird and small and what?
Here are some others of the headstones that are there. We have one that says, quote, "So live that you wouldn't be ashamed to sell the family parrot to the town gossip."
Okay, what's the message there? That you want to have an exciting life?
No, you want to live so that if you sold your parrot to the town gossip, it wouldn't have anything juicy to tell them.
Okay, you want to be chill.
You want to be chill.
Okay.
Another read.
I missed that one.
Yeah, that's okay. So
I went the opposite.
there's another one that says, "He was lit, but his lights were not."
What?
This is another great one. And this is all it. Are you ready?
Okay.
Quote, "Sacred to the memory of husband Jared Bates, his widow, age 24, lives at 24 Elm Street, has money, every qualification of a good wife, and yearns to be comforted."
Wait, what? It's like a personal ad for the guy's wife.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a weird little thing.
I have just a couple more. I love these. They're so weird.
Yeah.
One is, quote, "Drowned in Lake Lugbert by a few of his affectionate friends." This is a great one. Almost reads a bit like a poem. Quote, "Ma loved Pa, Pa loved women. Ma caught Pa with one in swimmin'. Here lies Pa."
Yeah. Somebody had to come up with these.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
the somebody was Dan and Eleanor Roberts.
A couple?
Yeah.
Cute.
And they actually had this cemetery by their veterinary clinic originally in Wichita Falls, Texas. But then they ended up moving it to Oklahoma when they moved. But it was, the site was dedicated in November 4th, 2006, like a real cemetery would be.
Oh my god.
And they apparently they just would keep thinking of these jokes, and then they would go to their like family friend Brenda, who her and her family had been running this place Willis Granite since 1945, and they would just make these funny headstones for them. And so they built this joke cemetery.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have hobbies, you know?
Right? And I have known about this cemetery maybe since the start of this podcast. I have
Damn.
been trying to find a time and place to speak about it because there are no bones here.
No bones about it. It's
Not
just
a bone in sight. No one is
It's just
buried
a
here.
funny cemetery.
It's just a joke cemetery. Yeah, it's a fake
With a
cemetery
billboard.
with a billboard next to it.
So it's still there in Oklahoma.
Hell yeah, bitch.
Nice. And you just can go. You don't have to like pay admission. It's just kind of on the side of the road.
Yeah, I think you can
my
just
God.
roll up.
It's so weird. But that is kind of sweet that it was like this couple's thing. I don't know. They
Like
must have
pet
had fun
project.
coming up with the what the tombstone said.
Yeah, no, I think it's hilarious, and I think it's kind of, it's a harmless kind of like prank installation where like, no one's buried there, so like
No, it's art. I'll call it art.
yeah, and there's no disrespect to be getting enjoyment out of these headstones.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I enjoy that immensely. Quite on theme.
Thank you, I thought you would.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have this whole ad break to think of a good joke epitaph of your own.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Catherine.
And I'm Haley.
And we are Saturdays Are for the Ghouls, a podcast on the Podmoth Network. We cover all things spooky, like horror movies, true crime, the supernatural, and spooky stories.
In the most chaotic way possible.
So join your favorite ghoul friends every Saturday wherever you listen to podcasts.
And become a spooky babe.
So spooky babes, we'll see you.
In your nightmares.
Mine says, quote, chopping wood. Ask me what went wrong.
Mine is she liked bones and now she is one.
Hey! Perfectly on theme.
Now that we've gone to a joke cemetery, I'm going to take us to Boston.
A joke cemetery of a city.
Hey!
Hey!
No, I think Boston's probably cool. I don't know that I have not been in my adult life, so I bet it's cool. A lot of history,
Yeah, no, love Boston if you're interested in the revolution in
America,
Paul
George
Revere.
Washington, whatever, I don't know.
Benjamin fucking, nope, he's Philadelphia.
They were all around there.
They were all in the Boston Tea Party.
So my sources for this were history.com and bostondiscoveryguide.com. And I am going to tell you today, some of you might have heard of this before. I am going to talk about the Great Molasses Flood of 1919.
That's a sticky situation.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we are in Boston's North End on Commercial Street. And one of the prominent features of Commercial Street is a 50-foot tall steel holding tank. And it always smells very sweet over there because this bitch contains, you guessed it, molasses.
Ooh.
So the tank was owned by United States Industrial Alcohol, and they would get regular shipments of molasses from the Caribbean, and then they would use it to produce alcohol for like rum and other liquor. But then it could be used for munitions manufacturing.
They're making explosives with
molasses. It was a desperate time, World War I.
I guess modern warfare was really just getting going.
So this company, United States Industrial Alcohol, built the tank during World War I in 1915 because there had been an increased demand for industrial alcohol at that time. But they were rushed and frantic when they were building it. So the container had a sound.
Oh,
it
God.
would groan. And people said that there was molasses leaking onto the street. One of my sources said that at least one employee was like, y'all, y'all see this as bad, right? Like, you hear this, like, this is not a good sound of a tank. Like, a tank should be silent, not groaning.
I mean, how many people had to walk by there and hear that and go, probably nothing.
Yeah, apparently. So one source said that the big bosses did some caulking to try and fix it. Caulking.
Oh, yeah.
Caulking.
Yes, no, they tried to use their caulk to fix it.
Mm-hmm. And then another source said that this is my favorite. If this is true, I mean, it's fucked up, but it's like so stupid. One source said that they painted the tank brown to camouflage the molasses dripping.
Wow, they literally painted over the problem.
Mm-hmm. They're like, it's fine. We're fine. We're all good.
I can't see the problem. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. So we are at January 15th, 1919. It was somewhere around 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, which was actually kind of warm for a Boston winter day. Mm-hmm. Around 12:40 p.m. during the afternoon work day, we're in like an industrial area of Boston. Again, there is a sound, a very loud explosion.
What? I'm sorry. A very loud explosion?
Yeah, the tank just it gives way. So screws are flying off of the tank. Pieces of the tank are just opening up. Oops, I hit the microphone. Opening up, and it creates a vacuum with the other buildings around it. So buildings start collapsing around it, and then all the molasses starts slowly coming out of the tank. And it's not just a little bit of molasses. It has been recently refilled, and it is real full of 2.3 million gallons of molasses.
That's all the molasses.
That's as much molasses as a person could conceive of, probably more.
Well, it's all the molasses that would fit in the tank.
It was apparently a 15-foot wall of syrup that was going down this commercial street at 35 miles per hour. It's an estimate, but I mean, shit.
That's terrifying.
Right? Just like a tsunami, but of sticky, messy syrup. So as it's engulfing buildings, it's engulfing people, horses, other animals, buildings, electrical poles, cars, trains, everything is getting swept up in this goopy mess. And even the supports for the train platform were broken by the end of this. That's how powerful this wave of sludge was.
Molasses is thick.
It's super thick.
It's
and it wasn't
not. Yeah, it's not a swimmable substance.
No, not at all. And the temperature came into play with this, because it was on the warmer side. I guess it was runnier. But then some reports also say that because it was pretty cold, 45 degrees is pretty cold, even if it's mild for Boston. Some reports say that it froze the molasses, so it was even harder to get out of. I don't really understand how the temperature came into play, because molasses is sticky as fuck no matter what. So
yeah, if it was colder, it could have become thicker, though. I can see how it would be harder to move in if the molasses has time to sit there and set. I've used molasses for cooking before, and it's it's like honey's stickier cousin.
Right. So this wave comes through, and then pretty quickly, actually, it recedes, but it's leaving behind this half-mile, just desolate landscape of crushed buildings, bodies, this sludge that was by some accounts, it was waist deep. And somewhere this is really gruesome, every once in a while you would see somebody writhing around in the molasses, or an animal or something, because they couldn't get up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, horrible. So police and firefighters get to the scene within a few minutes, but what the fuck are they going to do? It's just there were even 100 sailors from the Navy ship USS Nantucket. But as much as they wanted to help, it was really hard for them to get through this molasses to like try and pluck people out of this, you know, cold molasses that was like people were stuck in it.
No, it would be like swimming through glue.
So it took a few days for rescue workers to be able to get through all of it. You know, they would recover bodies as much as they could. And in the end, there were 21 dead and 150 injured, and, you know, countless animals, unfortunately. And it took a while to find some of these bodies. One victim, a wagon driver named Cesar Nicolo, wasn't fished out of the Boston Harbor until 4 months after this molasses flood.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So obviously, when this is all said and done, the victims of this flood file 119 lawsuits against this United States Industrial Alcohol Company.
Yes.
And they're like, the tank was built and it was too thin. It was built unsafely. So, you know, there should have been more oversight. And then USIA, the company that owns the tank, was like, actually, no, we're pretty sure that it was a group of Italian anarchists that blew it up. And so they're just, seriously, they tried to blame it on an unknown Italian anarchist group. When all else fails, just use some racism and some predetermined stereotypes, because it was World War I, and there was already like racism abounded against the Italians. And so this was just a great excuse for them. There was even, they had one time somebody had called the USIA office and threatened to destroy the tank with dynamite. So they're like, oh, somebody called that in once, a crazy person. And so that's definitely what happened. And it was an Italian.
Yeah, that seems a little out of left field.
Yeah, sucky assholes trying to not have to pay for their mistakes.
Yeah.
Eventually, all of those lawsuits were combined into one giant legal proceeding that took 5 years to finish. There were 1,500 exhibits and 1,000 witnesses who testified.
Wow.
The closing arguments alone took 11 weeks, but at the end, in April 1925, State Auditor Hugh W. Ogden ruled that the United States Industrial Alcohol Company was to blame for this molasses flood, which they were. Quote, it was the company's poor planning and lack of oversight that had led to the tank's structural failure. So in the end, USIA had to pay family members $628,000 in damages, which would be about $8 million today.
Wow.
And there's a small plaque in Boston's North End, Pupolo Park. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Puopolo. And this plaque commemorates the disaster. The other thing to note is that on really hot days, it is said that sometimes on this street where this happened, you can still smell molasses.
Ugh. The people trapped in molasses
Isn't that sickening? It's just like, ugh, it's so sad.
It makes my skin crawl. That's a terrible way to die.
That's the worst way I can imagine.
It's up there. Oh, it's up there. I'm putting it on the list as up there.
Ugh. Sorry, everybody, but that is the Great Molasses Flood of 1919.
Ugh. Disgusting, horrifying, fascinating. All right, are you ready for the last Bone-anza story?
Bone-anza 100.
Bone-anza 100. So we're gonna talk about Mad Anthony Wayne.
Who is he?
He is a Revolutionary War general. And
okay. Oh, we're okay.
We're staying.
The Revolutionary War. Okay, we're staying.
We're staying
over on the East Coast.
We're staying over on the East Coast. I'll just do my sources for this really quickly. We have, of course, Wikipedia, unchartedlancaster.com, and the Washington Post.
Okay.
So I had not heard of this guy.
No, I haven't. I don't think.
He's not, your George Washington.
He's not awesome.
Your Thomas Jefferson. I mean, I think from what we know about George Washington, he had some very not awesome things about him. Anthony Wayne was born in 1745, and he was an American soldier and statesman and technically a founding father.
Yeah. Did he sign the Declaration of Independence?
I mean, I don't know if that's what that means, but
It doesn't matter. It's probably not.
I would prefer that he didn't, and I think you'll agree.
Okay.
So he joins the military at the beginning of the Revolutionary War, and he's like really pedals to the metal about war. Like,
Ew.
he loves it. He's horny for it. And he kind of earns the nickname Mad Anthony because he's got a pretty fiery personality and he's out there doing some deadly exploits.
So he's on the American side and he's killing the Brits?
Yeah,
Or-
he's an American. So
Oh, duh. You said the East Coast. Duh.
Yeah. So he ends up assembling a militia during the Revolutionary War and becomes colonel of the 4th Regiment in Pennsylvania. So he's up there. He also got to work with Benedict Arnold, and he ended up saving Washington's troops from a massacre that they would have faced at the Battle of Brandywine in 1777. But I think I've alluded to this. This guy sucks.
Yeah, I got the gist. I got that vibe.
Yeah, I think he's hailed a lot as some sort of Revolutionary War hero, but in my brief reading about him, he seems like he sucks. After the Revolutionary War, he ended up going to Georgia and settling on the Richmond and Key plantation that was given to him for his military service, and he had slaves.
Yeah,
So-
not good.
And reason numero uno that I do not prefer him. He also participated in the Northwest Indian War and was a huge proponent of the ethnic cleansing of Native Americans in the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, this guy sucks. Don't
Yeah.
put this guy on Hamilton.
No, this guy was left out of Hamilton for a reason. Although, Georgie Wash also had slave teeth. So
Thomas Jefferson certainly did have
Yeah.
slaves. Anyway.
he was also, our guy, Matt Anthony, was also a big proponent of Manifest Destiny. So, again, these are things we're not huge about.
Yeah, aka white people inserting themselves into lands that don't belong to them and they have no business being in.
Yeah, going in and fucking up the ancestral home of the Native Americans. So George Washington had to pick a general to lead the Legion of the United States. And this was between Anthony Wayne and a guy named James Wilkinson. And so Wilkinson actually worked for Wayne, which is funny. And throughout the Wayne's sort of campaign to become the general to lead the Legion of the United States, Wilkinson was undermining him the whole time. He was writing nasty anonymous letters to newspapers being like, hey, have you heard about Anthony Wayne? He sucks. Which is like true.
But shady.
But shady. And it was later revealed that Wilkinson was actually a Spanish spy at the time.
Ooh.
And so he was pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. So eventually, Secretary of War Henry Knox is like, hey, Wayne, do you know that your buddy Wilkinson is like totally throwing you under the bus? And he's like, no, I did not know that. And so Wayne attempts to, after his suspicions are confirmed, they catch Wilkinson getting paid by the Spanish. And before Wayne can do like a heckin' court-martial on Wilkinson, Wayne develops a stomach ulcer and dies.
Oh, God. Damn.
Bye.
Bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch. And some people have said that it's very possible that Wilkinson had something to do with his death. That is unsubstantiated, though.
Sure, it's a rumor, but it's juicy.
It's a rumor, a legend, a mystery. So instead of getting court-martialed, Wilkinson got the position.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, he did have a motive, but yeah, we'll never know.
For sure, for sure. So Wayne was buried at Fort Prestique Isle, where the Wayne bunkhouse is. It's this like little, it looks like a small lighthouse. I should have gotten you a picture of that.
Ooh, spooky.
So according to Wayne's wishes, he was buried wearing his uniform, and he was buried in a wooden coffin at the foot of this bunkhouse. And the top of his coffin had his initials, age, and the year of his death in brass tacks.
Got it.
And so for 12 years, Wayne remained buried there.
Chillin'.
Until
Oh, God.
his family was like, I think we want him actually to be in David's Church Cemetery, which is clear across the state.
Yikes.
So his son, Isaac Wayne, decided to disinter his body in 1809.
Oh, God.
You knew I was going to talk an exhumation.
Of course, of course. I hope they know what they're getting themselves into.
Hold on to that thought. So when Wayne's son, Isaac, opened the coffin, he was like, shit, I thought that you would be a pile of skeleton bones. You are a well-preserved man.
Shit. Probably stinky as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's not what he had prepared for. He was like, I was expecting bones. And so he is like, what the fuck do I do? And so a local physician whose name is Dr. James Wallace was like, hey, why don't we put your father, your dead father, into a giant vat of boiling water? Just boil him down.
Wait. Wait. No. This doctor just wanted to perform an experiment.
You are like so right. Like, how is this the solution?
This is not it. This is not the way.
It's not the way, but it is what they chose to do.
Oh my God. What does that do? Okay, you'll tell me. You'll tell me.
So the flesh and the bones were separated in this boiling process.
Yeah, I've seen Bones. I've seen the show.
You've seen Bones. And so they reburied his clothing and his flesh.
Don't keep that.
They did, but it's in the ground in his original grave.
Oh, God.
And then his son took his father's bones and put them into 2 saddlebags and popped them in the back of a wagon. And then he drove in that wagon on these bumpy Pennsylvania roads, the 400 miles back to the church they wanted to put him in.
Y'all, I want people to be buried where they want to be buried, but like, is this worth it? You've boiled your father's dead body and put his bones into saddlebags. Like, come on.
And the thing about this whole saddlebag wagon situation is that it was so bumpy.
Oh, the bones are gonna break.
Some broke, some just fell out.
That's not what anybody wanted.
This guy is trundling clear across the fucking state with a wagon full of his father's bones as they fly out the side.
He's leaving a trail of not breadcrumbs, but trail of bones.
Bone crumbs, yes. So now this general is a man that is buried in 2 graves. And I thought that was very interesting that we've heard of a lot of people whose grave sites are suspect, where you're like, is he buried here? Is he buried here? We know for a fact he's buried both places.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so gross.
To kind of sum it all up, he is a very popular ghost that's seen in the Pennsylvania area.
He was wronged, of course.
And he can be seen riding near Route 1 on his horse.
Yep. You're driving home after a long day. What the fuck? Is there a Revolutionary War reenactment in town?
Who the fuck is that? And why is he yelling, pick up my bones? I mean, gross ending, But the guy was a slave owner and a Native American killer. Like, he got what he got.
Yeah. And his family had some extra work that they really didn't need to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know the solution. Let's make dad soup.
That's just not, no. I mean, I don't know. These old-timey dudes are just on a whole nother level.
Just the amount of times that we've heard about people getting disinterred and reburied other places. This is definitely one of the most buck wilds because it's not a grave robbing.
No, this is what the family wanted.
This is what they legit wanted.
Yep. Okay. Nice try, everybody.
Hey, if I get buried somewhere, just leave me there.
Yeah, please.
It's never what you expect. I feel like that's the other moral of exhumations is you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you don't.
You can get a pile of bones or a whole fucking guy.
Well, the arrogance of like showing up with 2 saddlebags to move your father's body. It's like, dude, what? Like,
just
you
like,
really didn't think
this should do it.
You didn't think to like ask. I don't know. It just you couldn't Google stuff then, so I don't know. Maybe he was an intelligent person, but it doesn't seem like it from this story.
You know, the fact that he was there for 12 years and they didn't have this thought before then discounts that for me.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Oh, well, that concludes our 100th episode Bone-anza. I cannot thank the Boneheads enough for listening, you know, every week or every once in a while, however you've been engaged with us. I just want to thank you for that because having people who are interested in these topics and being able to talk to you guys every week has been just a huge shining light in my life. And I love doing this podcast with you, Katelyn.
I love doing it with you, Soph, and I say ditto to that. It's really cool when I get to talk to people, you know, mostly friends or family that are like, that was so cool, that thing that you talked about on the podcast. And like, it is a way of engaging with people and a way to be creative in a dark world. So yeah, I second that. Thank you for engaging with us, however much or little you have. We appreciate it, especially people that write us reviews, because as a indie podcast, we could use all the exposure we can get, and reviews help us get that.
Yeah, and the best way to pass the podcast on is word of mouth as well. You know, if you know someone who is interested in archaeology or true crime or just the weird stuff that happens to bodies. Yeah.
Weird shit in general.
Send them our way.
Please. We love it. We have a little bit of everything. So hopefully everybody finds something that they like in an episode.
There's always room in the Bone Church.
And we have 100 episodes to binge now, which is so cool. We have more than that, but still. Bonuses and all that shit, but whatever. This is the 100th recording. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. I love you, Soph.
I love you. And I love our boneheads.
Yes. And I love Minnie.
And I love the puppy dogs.
And there's only one other way to send it off. Wait, before we send it off, don't you think you should tell people about your show?
Yes. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Always be plugging. On January 14th, the Maple Daddies, which is the sketch comedy group that I'm a part of, is going to be performing live featuring the Stoner Chicks and also a brand new sketch group in the Seattle community, Good Crash, who are super funny. We're all going to be performing at the Jewel Box Theater at the Rendezvous in Seattle at 7 p.m. You can find the link for tickets in my bio or the Maple Daddies at Maple Daddies on Instagram bio. And I would love to see some boneheads there. If you're a bonehead, please come say hi to me. And I think it's going to be just a rip-roaring good show. It's called Something to Look Forward to in January because Lord knows we all need something
We
to
could
look
all
forward to.
use it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to not only laughing my ass off in person, but getting to see you guys after a month away.
Yeah, you were saying something about your power going out earlier today because of the storm, and I was looking outside going, what storm?
And I was like, oh yeah, we're just 160, 190 miles apart.
It's just slightly different weather.
Yeah. Luckily, my power only went out once, so I preemptively texted Sophie like, I'm nervous about this. I'm getting my anxiety out now.
Oh, well, I'm so glad we could do this tonight.
Yeah, same. Okay, this ending has gone on for so long.
All right, well, you know how to end it. Bone Voyage. Happy 100.
We are 100.
I'm so old.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter,
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
at Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe.
Hey everybody, welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Caitlin Hart.
And I'm Sophie Schwartz, and this is the show where we talk about bones and bone-adjacent topics.
Yeah, we talk about bones a lot just in passing with each other. So why not record it and share it with the world?
A formal conversation about bones between two friends who like to laugh and joke and goof.
But also be formal.
Yeah, but also be formal.
We're nothing if not formal.
Oh.
I think I wrote you a letter to start this podcast, right?
You did, and it was delivered by a man on a horse, a skeleton man at that.
Yeah, I wanted to make it special for us, so.
Yeah, he did say that you had paid for him to sing it to me, but I unfortunately declined because his terrifying fleshless jaw is making me uncomfortable.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
Welcome to our very first episode.